Hello everyone, my name is Makeda Voletta, also known as the Body Scientist. And in case you're not familiar with my work, I am a strength and conditioning specialist, a nutritionist, and a sacred sexual educator. And I have a background in physiology, specifically exercise physiology, the nutritional sciences and biology. And so today I'm going to do a video on the controversial and scary topic for a lot of people of STDs. Okay, this is something that I've been studying for years. This is something that I have all kinds of clients with a variety of health profiles and issues, and I have helped people with all sorts of autoimmune issues, infectious issues, genetic issues, and I have to be careful with this video because I don't want to say too much and incriminate myself. But I do want to, I am a truth seeker and an educator. And I'm very passionate about the body and helping people achieve and maintain optimal health. And, one thing that's been coming up lately, and I've been requested to give more information on this whole topic of STDs, okay? So let's start with the fact that in this country and in many countries, religion is what dictates our sexual behavior. And the world's three main religions, no offense to anyone, but this is just the truth. The world's three main religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, are responsible for this patriarchal push and the whole shame and fear that is put into sexuality and our sexual desires. And so when we are told, there's different taboos in different religions, but when we are told that sex is filthy, that our genitals are filthy, that we shouldn't have sexual attractions for more than one person, if you're a woman and you've had sex with, however many people, then all of a sudden you're a slut or a whore. All of these things, a lot of times women who grew up in the church, girls who grew up in the church, a lot of times their grandmother and people tell them keep their legs closed until they get married, which I think is very bad advice, because what it does is encourages young people to get married much sooner than they usually would because they want to have sex. So if you're telling somebody they can't have sex until they get married, then they're probably going to get married sooner and thus make the wrong decision, because it's important for us to know ourselves before we can get into a committed relationship with someone else. And sexual compatibility is a real thing, a real issue. A lot of people have sexual compatibility issues, and so I think some of the worst advice you can give someone is to wait until they get married to have sex. I think it's horrible advice. Sometimes people's genitalia don't fit. Sometimes their sex drive is not the same. Sometimes what turns them on is not the same. And sex is not everything, but we can't underestimate the importance it plays in a relationship. That's our root chakra. That's also our spiritual center, and it can cause a lot of misery. So I personally believe that sexual suppression makes people crazy. Okay, it makes people have bad attitudes. It makes people flip off and just have short tempers. And many studies have confirmed this. Okay, so in other videos I've done, if you look at my work, you'll see that I talk about the connection between sexuality and spirituality, especially in my Sacred Sexuality series, where I really get into depth about that. So I won't do it too much here, but I will say that sexuality and spirituality are a continuum of each other, okay? That serpent snake that we see on the medical symbol of every country, there's two snakes going up the pole and the bird wings, meaning that sexual energy is healing. It is the fastest path to enlightenment. It helps open up our third eye. All of these things, okay? But and sex and sexual interactions is much more healing than it is toxic. But when we have sex ed, we don't learn that. If you get sex ed in school, it's all fear-based. What we're told is this is a penis and this is a vagina, and this is sperm and this is egg, and this is pregnancy, and then you get shown photos of all the horrible diseases that you can get, and then you're told don't have sex till you get married, okay? That's very bad advice. When everything is about fear, 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 what happens is people have serious guilt trips for whatever it is that they desire, whether it be a same-sex relation, whether it be someone that, maybe they're talking to one person and then there's someone else they're interested in. But because they may have been raised very religious, especially if they're female, they may feel like something's wrong with that. And so when you have like these serious guilt trips for your sexual desires and what you're feeling and what you've done, like if you do something and then you feel like, oh my God, I'm such a horrible person, I shouldn't have done that, and you're beating yourself up and you're giving yourself a guilt trip, that can affect your health, okay? I believe, and science has also shown and proven that before we have illnesses in our physical body, they show up in our energy fields first. And toxic stuff and toxic energies and thoughts and imprints in our energy fields, meridians running backwards, chakras being muddled, that can affect our physical health. So some people may have herpes or because they are having a guilt trip and feeling horrible, and even AIDS. I mean, lots of science, and you can look at the videos that I post below in this YouTube video, but lots of science shows that HIV and AIDS are not actually the same thing or even related. HIV is a virus and AIDS is a syndrome, okay? Acquired immune deficiency syndrome, meaning that it's a bunch of different things that basically means the immune system is falling apart. But one thing that we have to pay attention to and take note of is that all autoimmune diseases are on the rise. Lupus, Crohn's disease, vitiligo, the autoimmune disease that Michael Jackson had, and rheumatoid arthritis. And I personally always had this deep feeling that people with autoimmune diseases probably have some deep trauma and self-hate. That may not always be the case, but I feel like that's the case a lot of the times. And in my own independent study of working with people with autoimmune diseases of various sorts, because I have had clients with a variety of autoimmune diseases, and a lot of times I do find that there's some type of self-hate at the root of it. Sometimes they may not even be aware of it. But then other people may get autoimmune diseases because they're eating way too much wheat and sugar and rancid vegetable oils and not taking care of themselves at all. And so that can cause the immune system to break down too. So it doesn't, there could be different reasons. I do believe in safe sex. However, to me, safe sex starts with us, okay? I'm probably, going to get a lot of hate mail for saying this, but I don't think that safe sex is simply putting on a condom and using latex, because number one, there's a few issues with that. And I would say that you should check my video, intestinal dysbiosis, okay, on probiotics and intestinal dysbiosis, preventing intestinal dysbiosis. Look up intestinal dysbiosis, whether you look at my videos, look at some other videos. That is the most important thing with preventing all infectious disease, whether it's a so-called STD or any other infectious disease. And I put STD in quotes because these things known as STDs, such as syphilis, gonorrhea, HPV, herpes, and whatever else, they have existed before humans, first of all. So they're older than we are. That's number one. And they've just become an epidemic in the past 30 years. All of a sudden in the past 30 years, it's like this epidemic that went through the roof. And we don't have to have sex to get them. You don't have to have sex to get herpes. I mean, you don't have to have sex to get gonorrhea. You don't have to have sex to get syphilis. You don't have to have sex to get HPV. They're basically contact diseases, infectious diseases, bacteria and viruses, where if you have herpes in your finger and you touch someone's eye, they can possibly get it in their eye, and there was no sex involved. If, with any of those, it's the case. But when they put the label STD, it makes people feel dirty and disgusting. Because if somebody gets a flu virus or a cold virus, those are viruses too. People don't feel like they're tainted for life, and they don't feel like, okay, I will take this pill for the rest of my life. Because people die from the flu. If you have a weakened immune system and you get a bad strain of the flu virus, it can kill you. But people don't feel like I got the flu, I'm doomed for life, now I have to take this pill every single day, and I'm so horrible. But for some reason, when it's labeled STD, that virus or bacterial infection makes people feel like they are so dirty and tainted for life, and no one's going to want them, and it does a lot to their self-esteem, and a lot of it has to do with the fear that we're taught with sex, okay? Now, a bacterial strain is a bacterial strain, a virus is a virus, an infection is an infection, whether it's in your eye, your lungs, or your genitals, okay? Now, the way that we prevent infectious disease is by keeping our own microecosystem in a way that's not suitable for infectious disease. All bacteria and viruses have different requirements for life. So if somebody coughs in your face and they have the flu, all of a sudden you get the flu and you're like, oh, that person made me sick. Nobody can make you sick. If you got that flu, we're always becoming exposed to infectious disease. So if you got that flu, it's because your body was already welcoming to that virus. Your body already provided the optimal environment for that bacteria or virus to thrive, okay? Like in disease-causing organisms, the so-called STDs, the viruses and bacteria, they do not like oxygen. They cannot survive in the presence of oxygen. And this is a scientific fact. So if you have lots of hydrogen peroxide producing, oxygen producing bacteria in your gut, then when you get exposed to these viruses and bacteria that are anaerobic and can't stand oxygen, guess what happens? They die. There are many studies in the laboratory that have shown that lipid-contained viruses such as HPV and herpes and HIV, they cannot survive in the presence of colloidal silver, okay? They cannot survive in the presence of oxygen, like hydrogen peroxide producing bacteria completely break open their lipid bilayer. Things like lemon juice, grapefruit seed extract, okay, aloe vera. These have all been shown to kill the herpes virus, the HIV virus, the HPV virus, okay? A lot of times we're told that viruses cannot be killed, but that's not true. Not only can they be killed, but they can be made dormant as well. And I talk about that in my intestinal dysbiosis video. I'll get more into the microbiology of viruses and bacteria. And again, I have a background in biotechnology before I got into nutrition, which is all, again, more biochemistry and physiology. And so I've taken a lot of microbiology classes and molecular biology and organic chemistry and biochemistry. So I do understand how viruses and bacteria operate. So it's important for us to make sure that we're inoculated with lots of good bacteria so that whenever we're exposed to infectious disease, because we never know when it will be, from the food we eat, the water we breathe, somebody coughing in your face, shaking somebody's hand. You want your microecosystem to be strong so that when you become exposed to that, it cannot survive, okay? Now, thinking about a latex condom that you may have on a phallus, okay? The condom may end like right here, okay? Let's say the phallus, is this long. Let's say the condom stops right here. And all of this part of the phallus and the testicles still gets vaginal juices, yoni juices on it, okay? So if we're talking about STDs and the fact that, okay, we're putting the condom on so that we don't get vaginal fluids on the phallus, or that there's no genital contact, but yet the condom doesn't cover the entire phallus. So that doesn't make sense, because there's no rule that says that the disease has to touch this part of the penis in order for an STD to spread. It's the entire penis. And the condom does not cover the entire penis and the scrotum. Also, people talk about using dental dam and going down on women, but I'm not convinced that licking latex and women sucking on latex, like strawberry flavored condoms, like what chemicals do they use to make that condom strawberry flavored? And what chemicals did they use to make that condom different colors? And the spermicide and lubricants on those condoms, have you ever tried to look them up? Did you ever read like all the warning signs and like everything in that condom box, that latex box? And the fact that a lot of scientists who use latex gloves end up with latex allergy. That's a very real issue that a lot of women are having. Also, when you use latex, it does disconnect. It disconnects the healing properties of sex. We're told so much about, all the diseases that we can get, but we're not told that when we orgasm, men and women, when we orgasm, we release the beneficial essence, and men can absorb that beneficial essence from women when women orgasm, and women we can absorb that beneficial essence from men when they orgasm. But when you have latex, it blocks it all. To me, the thought of you know, wearing latex is like, you might as well put on a latex suit then, because you might as well put latex inside your mouth and coat the whole inside of your throat. Because if you eat some salad with some E. coli bacteria on it, you could get E. coli and you could die and you could get sick, or you could get sick and puke. If somebody with tuberculosis spits on the sidewalk and you walk by and breathe it, you could get tuberculosis, okay? So, might as well put a mask on your face, might as well put latex over your whole entire body and live in a latex bubble. But if you know anything about immunity, true immunity, that when we become exposed to things, that's how our immune system builds. And that's the whole idea behind vaccines, is inject somebody with a viral or bacterial strain so that our immune system can build up defenses. But that naturally happens if we just live life and we play in the dirt and come in contact with stuff. But everything in America now has become sterilized. They pasteurize and irradiate the fruits and vegetables and all the plant foods. They pasteurize all the juice. So all the juice you buy in the store is pasteurized. The milk is pasteurized. You go to every bathroom is antibacterial soap. People are walking around with hand sanitizer, and that stuff should be illegal. And if you want to know why I say that hand sanitizer should be illegal, if you don't know why that is so bad, you really need to research intestinal dysbiosis. Look at my video and just research intestinal dysbiosis, okay? That's what really causes the problem with your immune system, is all the antibacterial stuff that kills all the bacteria. Bacteria are our friends. We need good bacteria to fight the bad bacteria, because good bacteria create an environment which the bad bacteria and disease-causing organisms cannot thrive, okay? If we focused a lot more on the healing properties of sex and took care of our bodies, you know, like made sure that you're not eating a whole bunch of sugar, which helps the viruses and bacteria to thrive, and you're not eating a whole bunch of grains and you know, canola oil and soybean oil. Like, if you eat a diet like that of processed foods and crap, then you will have a weakened immune system and get sick. And if you don't have enough good bacteria in your system, which you won't in America unless you are consciously making an effort to consume fermented foods, a multitude of fermented foods and probiotic supplement, to make sure that you're getting a lot of good bacteria in your system. Those are the most important things you can do in terms of safe sex. And also, yes, being very picky of who you connect with and listening to your body, because our bodies tell us a lot. You know, people may not believe this, but our bodies tell us a lot. So if the voices in your head or your body, like